I woke up to a miracle today. Triggers stay as I find my way. No judgment to lead astray. In this peaceful state I'll stay.
Hey everyone, welcome back. It's great to be diving back into A Course in Miracles with you all.
Yeah, it's amazing to be back.
We're picking up with Lesson 47 today, building upon all the incredible insights we've uncovered so far. We've spent weeks now exploring our own limitations and where true strength comes from. And with this lesson, I think, takes us even further. It really encourages us to kind of let go of that grip we have on our own strength, our own very human strength, which, let's be honest, can be pretty unreliable.
It can be shaky.
Yeah.
For sure.
And instead, it encourages us to tap into something much greater, something more constant, the unwavering strength of God.
Really letting go of that need to control everything ourselves.
It's like, when you try to put together a piece of furniture without even glancing at the instructions. You might get by for a while with some duct tape, a little bit of willpower.
A hammer and a prayer.
Right, exactly. But eventually, you realize you need a better blueprint. So let's hear what this lesson has to say about finding that blueprint, that source of true strength. Lesson 47 of A Course in Miracles. God is the strength in which I trust. And it goes on to say, if you're trusting your own strength, you have every reason to be apprehensive, anxious, and fearful. What can you predict or control? What is there in you that can be counted on? What would give you the ability to be aware of all the facets of any problem and to resolve it in such a way that only good can come of it? What is there about you that gives you the recognition of the right solution and the guarantee that it will be accomplished? And it goes on to say, of yourself you could do none of these things. To believe that you can is to put your trust where trust is unwarranted, and to justify fear, anxiety, depression, anger, and sorrow. Who can put his faith in weakness and feel safe? Yet who can put his faith in strength and feel weak? So there's a lot to unpack there, but I'm struck by how directly it addresses our tendency to try and handle everything on our own.
Yeah.
Like it's calling us out a little bit, don't you think?
Oh, for sure. It's like it's shining a light on those moments when we're white-knuckling it, trying to force things to go our way, and just ending up exhausted and stressed out.
Yeah. And it's interesting how the lesson uses such strong words, right? Like apprehensive, anxious, fearful. It's as if it's saying those feelings. They're not just random. They're actually the natural consequence of trying to rely on our own limited strength.
It's like it's pointing out the flaw in our logic. We think we can control everything, but the reality is we can't. And that disconnect, that's what breeds all that anxiety and fear.
It seems to be highlighting that gap, between our desire for control and the reality that we simply can't predict or control everything. And that gap, that's where all the trouble starts.
Exactly. And that's where the lesson brings in this idea of God as a source of strength. And it's important to remember that within the context of A Course in Miracles, the concept of God isn't necessarily the traditional religious figure that might come to mind. It's more about recognizing a universal force, an ultimate source of love, wisdom, and strength that resides within each of us. It's that connection to something greater than ourselves.
So when the lesson talks about trusting in God's strength, it's really about tapping into that inner wellspring, that deep reservoir of peace and guidance that's always available to us.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that we're not alone in this, that there's a power greater than ourselves that we can turn to for support.
It makes me think about all the times we face those inevitable moments of uncertainty in our everyday lives, whether it's at work dealing with a never-ending to-do list, in our personal relationships, or even just trying to make sense of the constant stream of information and opinions we're bombarded with online. It's so easy to feel like we're constantly falling short.
Yeah, we get caught up in the whirlwind of our own thoughts and anxieties, and it can feel like we're being swept away.
And that's precisely when this lesson's message becomes so important. It's a reminder that we don't have to go it alone. We can choose to align ourselves with a power greater than ourselves, with that inner strength that's always there, waiting to be accessed.
Absolutely.
Now, the lesson doesn't just leave us with this concept, it actually offers us a practical tool to help us make this shift, to cultivate that trust in a higher power. And that tool is the practice of repeating the affirmation, God is the strength in which I trust.
It's such a simple practice, but it can be so powerful. Just taking a few moments throughout the day to consciously affirm that truth can have a profound impact on our mindset and how we approach challenges.
Yeah, I mean, imagine using that affirmation during your commute, right?
Yeah.
When you're
Yeah.
stuck in traffic and that frustration starts to build.
Yeah.
Or before you step into a meeting where you know there might be tension or disagreement.
Right. It's like putting on a suit of armor, a spiritual armor that helps us navigate those difficult situations with more grace and resilience.
It's about consciously choosing to ground ourselves in that source of strength that's always available, no matter what's happening around us. And, what I appreciate about this lesson is that it acknowledges that recognizing our weaknesses isn't about putting ourselves down. It says the recognition of your own frailty is a necessary step in the correction of your errors. It's about humility and self-awareness, and it's a part of our growth.
That's an important distinction. It's not about wallowing in self-doubt or feeling inadequate. It's about honestly assessing our limitations so that we can open ourselves to a power that transcends those limitations. It's about understanding that true strength comes not from denying our weaknesses, but from acknowledging them and then choosing to connect with something greater.
And that connection, that sense of peace and strength that comes from aligning ourselves with that higher power, that seems to be what the lesson is referring to as the kingdom of heaven within.
It's that place of stillness and clarity, that inner sanctuary that's always present beneath the surface of our busy minds. The challenge is to quiet those mental distractions, to let go of the worries and the fears, and reach down into that place where we can experience true peace.
So to bring it all together, this lesson is really encouraging us to make a fundamental shift in our perspective. It's an invitation to move away from solely relying on our own, often limited and very human strength. And instead, it's an invitation to tap into that infinite wellspring of strength that comes from aligning ourselves with God,
Yeah.
with a universal force of love and wisdom.
It's a practice of surrender, not in a sense of giving up or becoming passive, but in a sense of letting go of the need to control everything and trusting that we are guided and supported even when things feel uncertain.
As you go about your day-to-day, I really invite you to consider this. If you truly believe you are accessing a strength beyond your own, how would your approach to your current challenges change?
It's a powerful question to sit with.
It is. We'll continue exploring this idea of trust and surrender in our next episode. Until then, keep practicing, and remember, you are not alone.
And remember that peace is always available to you.
We'll see you next time.
See you then.
I woke up to a miracle today.